That was a clip of us live doing Beatles tribute.
That's right.
We did hundreds of shows over the past decade or so.
We did.
And always a thrill to play for audiences and recreate that Beatles experience.
We actually had hair back then. Or maybe
I still do.
maybe there were wigs. I can't remember. But
Yeah.
that's one film clip. We've got dozens of film clips of our Beatles tribute band. Anyway, we're going to talk today about this day in history, January
11th. All right, so we're going to look at some of the highlights, some of the most interesting facts in the Beatles' history that happened on January 11th on different years. And the first one I'm going to bring up is way back in 1963. This is such a historic time because they had just signed their deal with Parlophone Records, working with George Martin, and they had recorded Please Please Me and Ask Me Why, which was released as their new single on this date in 1963. It would go on to become their first #1 hit in England. And, obviously a very historic moment for that. But also on this same day in 1963, the Beatles, they weren't famous yet, but they were obviously building up their name. They've got their recording contract, and the hype is building, and they actually played 2 different gigs in one day. And they played a lunchtime show at the Cavern Club, where they used to play all the time, almost every day. But then they had an evening gig, and the weather in England was so bad that day.
the worst in 7 years, yeah.
That it was, this blizzard hit, and they weren't able to travel 11 miles to play the gig. So the gig was actually cancelled due to the weather. That's kind of interesting.
It is interesting.
It reminds us of being on the road and
It does.
playing crappy gigs in crappy weather, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And also on this day, in 1968, the Beatles, of course, did a lot of promo on the BBC, and the Top of the Pops was like the biggest music show at the time, and they wanted to broadcast Hello Goodbye, which was currently their brand new #1 single. And it was interesting that the Musicians Union had a ban on lip syncing on TV, so the Beatles were not allowed to play their new promo video for Hello Goodbye in their Sgt. Pepper outfits. So that meant that all promo music videos at that time were not allowed to be aired. Of course, they weren't that popular at that time anyway, because it was a new thing, and the Beatles were, one of the first to actually do the music video.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
It is. One of my favorite Beatles videos, and probably one of the first videos ever made, was the Beatles' Rain and Paperback Writer promotional films from 1966, and beautiful color videos. You can watch them on YouTube. They're just amazing, really.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and they were like 30, 40 years ahead of their time, for sure.
That's right.
Yeah. And also on this day, I'm sorry to interrupt. Also on this day, back in 1980. Paul McCartney and Wings were getting ready to depart for their Japanese tour. They were pretty much all set and on departure for Japan.
Getting ready for the big tour.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Some interesting facts for January 11th. Thanks for watching, and leave us some comments, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
So my dear friends, come back when you can.